Hey there, and welcome to the screencast about ChatGPT for student use. ChatGPT and AI languages is a giant topic, and it's constantly evolving as time marches on. But I really want to look at it as how a high school student, specifically grades 9 to 12, and maybe even the upper grades 10, 11, and 12, can use this as an aid for really whatever they need to use it for in school. Let's just kind of talk about just a little bit of what I want to go over here. So like I said, it is a giant topic, and I really want to focus it on these specific things. So I want to talk about with you, what is ChatGPT and AI? We're going to do this at a very basic level, just so we kind of all have an understanding of what it is and what it's doing under the hood when you're using it. I want to talk about how we can access it. I want to talk about question words, and I want to talk about commands, because those are going to be the real ways that we are interacting with ChatGPT to get it to answer things for us and to do things for us. So let's start here at the very, very top, is what is ChatGPT? And I'm going to try to make this as simple as humanly possible, because it could be very, very complex. It is something called generative artificial intelligence. And really what that means at its heart is that it is generating information for you and generating tasks for you, and using really all that is out there on the internet, all that really has been accumulated in human knowledge. It's sifting through all of these different things that are out there, and it's giving you back information at lightning fast speed. It's a very simplistic kind of definition of what a generative AI is, but at its base level, if you distill it down, it's pretty much just that. A lot of these AIs, specifically ChatGPT, is a chat bot, and we'll jump into it in a second. And really what it is you are kind of in like an instant messaging chat. So think about it it's almost like you're texting back and forth with it. And really what it can do is answer questions and complete tasks that you give. And it can do that at a very base level, and it can do that at a very, very complex level. But let's kind of just talk about how do we access it. So I'm going to just put the link right up here. Since it's a video, you really can't interact with it, but I'll put it down in the description of the video. You click here. You do have to make an account with OpenAI, who are the people that own ChatGPT and make it. But just know that there are other AIs. There's Microsoft's Copilot. There's Google's Bard. There's Claude. There's a lot of them coming out right now, and that's really cool, but it's also a little bit scary too. But a lot of the ways that you interact with them is very, very similar. But at the heart of it, you are still asking questions and you are giving commands so that it can do things for you. So really what's shown here is kind of applicable to those things. We're just looking at it through the lens of ChatGPT. So let's actually jump into ChatGPT first so we can kind of see what it is. So once you are logged in, this is it. It's going to appear to you. It's going to say, how can I help you today? It's going to give you some tasks and stuff that it might think you want to do. You can see over here on my side, I have various chat threads that I've had, and things that you have asked it before will kind of get sent in here. So you could see I have a couple of different things. I have My Neighbor Totoro analysis I did. I was asking it for great sci-fi 1980s films. And really I can ask it for anything here. So let's say, I'm in the mood for tacos. I could say, can you provide me with a great taco recipe? And let's make sure everything's spelled correctly. There we go. So this is it. This is basically it. Immediately, ChatGPT is giving me all this information. So this isn't something academic. This isn't really something you would use for it. This is just kind of like a basic way to do things. But what I am asking it to do is important, and I can translate that over to different, to my educational work too, to the stuff that my teachers might be giving me. So I want to put this through the lens of a project. So I have a Word document where I just basically let's make this a little bit bigger, where I kind of just have a very basic task here, something that's similar that a high school student will probably kind of have to do at some point in their high school career, maybe at a very simple level, maybe at a very advanced level. But let's say I have this project here where I'm being asked to write a research paper analyzing key themes and ideas from a novel and argue the merits and/or message presented by the author as it pertains to the real world. I'm seeing like a concept in a book, in a novel, and I want to kind of analyze how that surfaces in the book and then kind of take it back and see if that message, how it plays out, in real world with real people type of thing. And typically in a project like this, we'll have these certain steps where we'll select a novel, throughout the book, we'll track it, we'll highlight and annotate things pertaining to a central idea or theme. We'll conduct inquiry searches in databases or many databases to support the analysis of the text. We'll connect the author's analysis to our world, also through database articles. And then we'll kind of take all that work and we'll write it up in a paper, that utilizes everything that we've kind of like learned throughout this project on this particular topic. Now, ChatGPT can be a great aid in this. And I kind of want to use this project as a kind of a way for you to see how ChatGPT can do this. It's not going to do the entire project for you, but it's going to help kind of jumpstart ideas, jumpstart, what you should be looking for and things of that nature. So I'm going to minimize this project and we'll come back to it at times here, but I have this tasty beef taco recipe. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna open up a new chat here because I don't want to do anything with that. I don't want to get the stuff that I'm talking about with my project here. I don't want to get it messed up with my taco recipe. So let me jump back to here because before we kind of talk about anything else, I want to talk about question words. Now, these are not new. You've been asking questions since elementary school. And these basic question words you ask on a daily basis, you write about them, you read about them, you do stuff with them all the time. And you have conversations where these words, permeate those conversations. So these are the basic question words. Just very quickly, we have a who or a what. We have a what, again, it's a did what. So it's a little different than that, subject who. We have when, like when did something happen, where did something happen, why, and how. And particularly these why and hows usually they're more the meatier, beefier, kind of like higher level answers that you normally will have to write about and talk about in class. They're very more open-ended than these, which might be a little bit more closed, where there might be a very specific answer. These question words pay off huge in something like ChatGPT, something where you are asking continual questions of the ChatGPT so that it can give you back the answers you're looking for. So let's go back into here. So let's say the text that I am doing for this particular project is, let me just put in here, text is the Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. There we go. Cool. So let's say this is the book that I chose for this. It's a classic, and it's something that it's definitely meaty enough to kind of take out a big central idea about. So I'm going to minimize this again. We'll be back in ChatGPT. So let me just ask ChatGPT some of these questions about my book. So let's say we could ask it simply like, who is the main character in The Great Gatsby? ChatGPT is going to tell me the main character of The Great Gatsby is Jay Gatsby himself. He's mysterious and an enigmatic millionaire, kind of giving me summaries of it. So I could even say what happened to the main character. I could use his name now. What happens to Jay Gatsby at the end of the book? Now, if I'm someone who hasn't read the full book yet, it's gonna hurt me in ultimately my quest to find resources and write about this in any depth. But I can ask it this, and it can tell me what's gonna happen at the end of the book. Spoilers, I'm sorry if you've never read this classic. But this is pretty much what's happening here. So I can ask it also when does it take place? So because I'm talking about The Great Gatsby, I don't have to say like, when does The Great Gatsby take place? It's going to know just based on the conversation we're having that I'm talking about The Great Gatsby. So it's even talking about here, The Great Gatsby is set during the summer of 1922. Okay. I can ask, what are some of my other question words here? I can ask where. So like, where does it take place? Which is a very similar question. It's going to give me kind of a similar answer there. But it's kind of giving me more areas of where it takes place as well. So I can say, let me say, what are some other words here? Whoops, that's the wrong one. So here, I can ask it, because really at the heart of this project is this idea here about, analyzing key ideas and themes from the book. So let's ask it, what are some key ideas / themes from the book? ChatGPT is going to do its thing. So already I'm seeing the American dream, wealth and social class, and I can kind of stop it as it's going and as it's still typing. I can see its moral decay. I can see illusion versus reality, love and desire, the green light, the failure of idealism. And having read this, I kind of have a good understanding of these things popping up throughout the book. But the one that's jumping up here is the American dream. The novel examines the idea of the American dream and its corruption during the Jazz Age. Characteristics like Jay Gatsby pursued wealth, and so on and so forth. So let me ask it, how does, because I have these other questions down here. Let's go back. So sorry, go back to ChatGPT. How does the American dream relate to Jay Gatsby? Jay Gatsby is deeply connected to the American dream and The Great Gatsby. He embodies the classic rags to riches narrative. So it's giving me all this information here. It's even telling me, however, despite his immense wealth and determination, Gatsby's dream ultimately proves elusive. He discovers, I might even say like, what does elusive mean? If I didn't know what it meant, it'll tell me. Cool. So it's doing all of these things right here under the hood. And already, even before researching, even before doing, extensive work in databases, even before, I'm kind of using ChatGPT here as a way to get, my bearing straight, to be able to get a lot of background information, because it's getting information from really everywhere on the internet. Now, I will say, as sort of as something you need to know, is that I can't just take this and copy this and now it's mine. Okay, I don't really. This is giving me a good understanding. It's giving me casting a wide net in my research, casting a wide net in what these things are. But by no means am I taking this and am I using it. Number one, it's not my own writing style. It's something that's very easy to kind of see. It's very cookie cutter. It's very something that it feels like a robot wrote it. And most of your English teachers and anyone grading your writing who has seen the way you're writing over the course of a year is going to be able to spot this out very, very easily. But what I can do is I now have these ideas here, because even by going off this, I go, okay, the American dream is something I might want to research. And it's something that, I'm going to be looking for in The Great Gatsby as I'm reading it, and as I'm going through it. So let me go here to, let me go back to my PowerPoint slide, because I do want to talk about commands, because I'm asking it questions and it's giving me information, but it can also do things for me. I can ask it basic commands like, can you make me, create a, write a, solve a, specifically if you're doing mathematical computations. I could do a very simple one right here. Solve for this equation, 2 plus 2. There you go. It's giving me that. Now, I didn't need ChatGPT to tell me that, but it could do that too. So let's do this. So, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I could do this. Can you write me a 5-page paper that explores the American dream in The Great Gatsby? I'd be happy to. And it's going to do that. Here you go. It's giving me not really like an entire essay, but it's giving me like an outline of really that whole thing. So, it's giving me a good, kind of like a little good outline for myself of what to do. But if I haven't researched, I don't know really any of these things. Like, I don't know how to define the concept of the American dream and significance in the 1920s. I actually have to go into the book and read that. I actually have to do the research. There's things that I have to do. But this is giving me like a nice focus of like what I should do. But let me see this. Let me say, can you give me database articles that explain the American dream in The Great Gatsby? Now, you'll notice here that I can make spelling mistakes, and I can it's still going to understand what I mean. I always like to make sure that I'm still writing, correctly. I'm still capitalizing things. I'm still doing those things because it just makes it also makes me remember to do that when I'm offline writing, on paper, or if I'm typing in a Word document later, that I'm doing those things as well. So I just kind of like to keep doing it always. So let's do this. So it's going to tell me here, and this is an important thing to know, is that ChatGPT will not give you links to other things. So it won't give me the actual sources to online databases and online, like well-researched articles. So I'm still going to have to do that. So if you're a student and you're like, well, where can I do that? I would check with your school librarians as to what kind of what kind of databases they have. I know in my school we have JSTOR, we have all the Cengage Gale databases, we have ProQuest. We have a lot of disposal, a lot at our students' disposal there. So if I were you and you're not part of the school that I'm at, I would check those. I would check with your school librarians to the different databases they have to offer. So it's unable to do this. But what I can do is this, which is actually very cool. Can you make me, or can you provide me with search or keywords to put into the database about the American dream and The Great Gatsby? Certainly. Here you go. So it's giving me these keywords that I can put in here. Using these keywords in a database should help you find relevant scholarly articles. So I can take these and copy them and paste them and try to help me. But something that might even be better, and this is something that really helps focus your research in these databases, because a lot of the databases, and this is a librarian term, it's not something you normally have to know, but in terms of asking ChatGPT specifically to do this, it's good to know. So I can ask it, can you make these search terms in Boolean language? And let me spell this correctly. There we go, capital B, question mark. Certainly, and it's going to do this. So if you're in my school specifically, these will look familiar with quotes and with operators, and now what I could do is I could literally take these, I can copy and paste them from here. I can drop it straight into a database and see what types of things pop up, because the database will read these very, very, very nicely and give me sort of criticisms and articles back that talk about these things. So this is pretty much it. This is what ChatGPT is, and you can see all this stuff right here is like, if I want to go back to my taco recipe, I could do that. I could always go back to my Gatsby stuff. I could always rename these things if I want to. So if I just want this to be like Gatsby research, I can, it's that. and it's saved in here, and it doesn't mix up with my taco recipe, my great sci-fi films, my Neighbor Totoro analysis, all that stuff. And I can scroll all the way back up and have this as, as my chat thread here with ChatGPT. So this is a lot. I know I threw a ton of stuff at you. It could be overwhelming. There's a lot of things here. This applies very specifically to research within the English classroom, but all of these things are applicable to social studies, to science, to math, to really any class that you're using. You can always use these question words, and you can always use these commands to do things. Now, again, before we kind of close out and kind of leave for the day, just know that this is not replacing your work. You are not just copying and pasting things from this to that, because like I kind of show you with this project specifically, it's really, really, really hard to, throughout the book, and like highlight, things like this, to do inquiry searches like we just saw. Like even if I go back in here and I say, please give me a quote, or please provide me with a quote from Gatsby that talks about the American dream. I didn't need a thing there. So certainly here's a quote from the Great Gatsby that discusses the American dream. So we beat on, boats against the current, born back. Okay, so even as I'm reading this, if I haven't read The Great Gatsby or even know where this quote is, so it's the famous closing, reflects the American dream, it's giving me a little bit of stuff there. It's giving me a place to go, but it's not listing me all the things. This doesn't track how this theme comes throughout the entire book. And with The Great Gatsby being in the public domain, meaning that it's free and it's available and anyone could use it for whatever reason, it's interfacing with ChatGPT. But if it's not something that's in the public domain and it's a more current, more recent book, it won't show up in here because someone else owns the copyright. And that's a whole nother discussion that I don't really want to get into with you, dear student, because you're watching this for an introductory type thing. So this is it. This is ChatGPT. This is how generative AI really works, how you can make it work for you, how it can help you do research, do as an assistant, for whatever project you're doing, and also how to make tasty beef tacos. And if you're a vegetarian, you can say, please, give me this without meat. And it's going to, here you go. Now it's giving me that. So if you have any questions and you're in my school, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions and you're somewhere else out on the internet, please just drop a comment, on this video, or you can send me a tweet at Mr. Toffs, which is connected here to this channel. It's been a pleasure, kind of giving you this information today. I hope it helps. I hope it helps you, and use this power, for good, as opposed to, anything else. All right. Have a great day. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.